Okay, I think we're ready to start. We're going to take questions in the room here at the Gabba, and then we'll go on to Zoom. Who wants to go first? Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Ollie, really tough day for the team. Can you just sum up the mood, I guess, after what transpired on day one of the first test?
Yeah, obviously it wasn't the end result we wanted. We're not going to get too down about it now. I think both teams have obviously got a bat on this wicket. Disappointing start, especially. So there was frustration that we haven't been able to put on that big score that we wanted. But the pitch did offer a fair bit, especially early for the seam. So I think, yeah, obviously frustrated as a unit, but we're not going to get too down. It's a long tour, it's a long series. So going to keep the spirits high, come fighting tomorrow.
Is there a little bit of rust in the top order, or was it just really good bowling from that Australian trio?
Oh, maybe a bit of both. They bowled very well, and I think that the sort of the steepness of the bounce that you get at the Gabba, I think the pitch felt quite soft. So I think that tennis bally bounce sort of dragged probably a few shots that you don't always have to play out, I guess, because they're going to be going well over the stumps. That probably was the cause of quite a few of the wickets, and it's probably just the adjustments on the day one Gabba pitch that we probably didn't make quickly enough.
Just on that, like while you and Josh were batting, it almost looked like a different pitch. And was that a lot to do with just the intent, the aggression that you were showing up? Sure, just
yeah, I guess personally, I always like to come with a lot of intent. I always want to sort of move the scoreboard along, especially if the ball is in my area. And I think a situation like that lends itself to that as well. You need to get your runs on the board. I think that the ball probably got a little bit softer. Seam wasn't quite obviously as pronounced, so maybe the ball didn't nip around as much as it got on in the innings. But yeah, Joss came in nicely and took the pressure off, and obviously frustrating that neither of us could go on and sort of push for a bigger score.
But do you see enough on that pitch for 147? Isn't a big target, but even if you can just stick them to 100 runs, is that enough in that for you to start back as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've obviously not played at the Gabba before, but from what I hear, there is sort of, it might dent a little bit, but I think it'll quicken up. So the Knicks will definitely carry. So yeah, if we put it in the right area early, especially with the new ball, then if we can get some early inroads, and then hopefully make the most of our next innings when batting.
Sorry, just one final one. Just your dismissal. Would you still back yourself to play that shot? Because you did play quite a few pull shots today. And just put the dismissal to the back.
Yeah, I think so. I think I hit the pull shot nicely today. I think probably the situation of the game lended itself. I wanted to sort of climb into anything short at the time. I guess we were sort of when you're 6 or 7 down, and they didn't have a man out, so I was sort of thinking in my mind that if you did bowl it short, that was a good opportunity with only one man back, and unfortunately top edged it. But I think it depends on the situation of the game a little bit.
Go ahead, Noel.
I'm just wondering, sort of going on from some of that as well. Did you talk beforehand about those lengths and maybe where you leave the ball on length? Was that discussed at all, and how that works at the Gabba with wicket out?
Yeah, I think our preparation has been, from a mental side, we've done well. We've sort of spoken about everything. Obviously, we haven't performed as well as we wanted today, but yeah, obviously both teams have got a bat in it. But we knew that it was going to be sort of a bit tennis bally, a bit tacky with a bit of nip. And I guess when they do bowl at the pace that they do, all it's got to do is nip a little bit, and it does drag you into a shot that you don't always have to play. So I guess similar in English conditions when it's sort of swinging away, and we sort of drag a lot of batsmen into playing that fist stump. It's the same idea here, really.
And does it come to a point when they are hitting that length that is dragging you in? Is there a point where you sort of decide you maybe have to do something to try and put them off their lengths a little bit, and then the way that you're being perhaps a little more aggressive or having a little bit more intent? Yeah,
I guess they saw the ball was nipping around a little bit earlier, so that they actually probably bowled a little bit fuller the more they went on. To try and bring another mode of dismissal into play, but yeah, there's no real secrets behind it when it is sort of, and their game plan as well. We know exactly what they want to do. They want to sort of hit the wicket hard, and then maybe chuck the odd one in at the knee roll with some bounces in there as well. So we're prepared for that, and I think that they obviously bowled very well today, and hopefully we can sort of come back at them harder.
Yeah, Ollie, I don't know how much knowledge you have behind the reasons behind it. There was obviously a bit of surprise with Jimmy obviously not playing, and then Stuart pulled out this morning. Do you know exactly what the reason behind leaving both of them out was, and I guess what was there a surprise within the team as well that neither of them are playing?
Not necessarily. I think Ollie Robinson obviously had the shirt from the summer, and he bowled beautifully against India. I think, and he started his Test career very well. And obviously Brody missed that India series or the back end of it. So at the time he had the shirt, and I guess we've gone with Woody with the extra pace, and I guess Wokesy with the bat gives us an extra batting option as well. So I guess that's their reasons behind it. But yeah, obviously it's still a bit above my pay grade.
Last one in the room, and then we'll go to Zoom.
Ollie, you said you haven't played the Gabba before. You played in Australia before. You've got a few runs when you're playing great cricket in Sydney. I know it's a bit different, but does that sort of prepare you for what you expect in Australian conditions?
A little bit. I wouldn't say massively, if I'm being completely honest. I think a lot of the grade pitches were actually pretty slow wickets, and they had quite a few sort of 65, 70 miles an hour sort of when you got to force the game. So I think facing this attack on this wicket, it's good to come out here and experience what it's like, but I don't think anything really necessarily prepares you for national series.
Now, when you and Josh were going together, it was a pretty good counter-attack. Was that the plan when he came in, or was that the plan when Josh was at the other end? Did you try and take the ascendancy back from Australia?
Yeah, I think obviously he's ridiculously talented. Obviously, we saw what he did in the World Cup, and I guess he took a little bit of that white ball form into today. And obviously, it would have been nice for us to both extend our innings and make sort of 70s, 80s, and 100s, but I weren't able to today. But I think at the time it took the pressure off nicely, took the pressure off me, and suddenly the scoreboard was ticking along pretty well. So yeah, he's ridiculously talented. So I guess he reads the situation of the game, and if he feels like that's his best, he puts his best foot forward by doing that, then that's what he'll do.
One more thing, so how's the arm? You've got a nasty down, is it all right?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, just trying to keep the bruising down.
Okay, we'll take 3 or 4 on Zoom. James Cole from Sky, go ahead.
Ollie, you come into this series with lack of preparation, an inexperienced squad in terms of playing in Australia as well, and the Ashes. How big a blow is that to the confidence, losing the wicket at the first ball and the way the day has gone?
I wouldn't say, looking forward, I wouldn't say it's a massive dent into our confidence moving forward into the series and into the second dig. But obviously at the time you sort of prepare for that sort of first sort of start of the game, and it does sort of create a little bit, I wouldn't say panic at all, because you've got to stay calm and collected, but just, yeah, it's a bit of like, oh, here we go, right, we're in here. So yeah, obviously it wasn't the ideal start, but looking forward, I know what Burnsy's like, and he's a competitor as well, so he'll be back fighting.
And realistically, how confident are you that you can claw this back, fight back from here?
Look, I guess looking at this wicket, it did offer today, and wasn't always the easiest to score on. So I think you never really know with wickets until both teams have batted on them. So this pitch, supposedly, I think that it gets a bit quicker and keeps carrying. So it'd be interesting to see how it plays, and if the ball today, because it was quite tacky, made some slight dents in the middle of the wicket. So it'll be interesting if that does open up. So yeah, I think we've definitely got the skill set in our bowlers to sort of drag it back and then hopefully go big second dig.
Okay, let's move on to Rory Dollard, Dean Wilson, and then finish with Stefan Shelmick. Go ahead, Rory.
Looking at conditions and looking at the pitch, Ollie, as a batter, how did you assess situations? Did you think it might be one of those days to let the opposition have a go first and see what your bowlers could do out there?
That's another one that's above my pay grade as well. I think looking at the wicket, I think it was always going to nip around a little bit early doors, and with that extra bounce, that's why it brought in the edges. But if we had managed to get through that first sort of 2 hours, one down maybe, for example, then I think we could have sort of made the most with a softer ball and probably a slower pitch today. So I wouldn't look too much at the toss. We've just got to execute better in that sort of, especially the first 2 hours of the game.
Okay, let's go to Dean, and then we'll finish with Stefan.
In addition to that first wicket of Rory Burns, what does it do to the team when you see your own captain and kind of best player in great form kind of dealt with the way that Joe was today?
Yeah, I mean, that's cricket. I know he's on the back of an amazing summer, but sometimes you play a miss, sometimes you nick him. So I wouldn't say it sort of dents the confidence of the team at all. Joe's an amazing player, and I'm sure sort of he'll come back strong as well. But yeah, we don't look into that kind of stuff too much. It's obviously nice when the captain gets runs, but we've got enough players around him and enough quality in the side to score the bulk of runs that we need.
Cheers.
And Stefan, last one, please.
Ollie, there'll be a lot of England fans waking up this morning, looking at the score and thinking, here we go again. What would your message be to them?
I mean, we're going to keep fighting. Again, we talk about we've got to see both sides sort of bat on this wicket. We don't know how it's going to react tomorrow. But yeah, we're gonna come back stronger, and yeah, hopefully put a good score on the board second dig after knocking them over.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.